This is the top 10 line defense breakdowns of all time so far. Number 10.
Hey guys, so today we are going to be looking at a double touch. So a double touch comes from when you try to run a sweeper, which is now, and let's have a look. Let's go back a little bit. Well, firstly, when you try to run a sweeper, middle, you want this link sweeping around. So you drag this middle over the one side, pass the ball. This is not how I do it, but this is definitely a way to do it. You pass this, pass the ball to this player to get this middle up. That way, when you sweep around, you're sweeping around this player, making the touch here. Okay, but the way you can defend that is a double touch. So you have one middle up. Excuse me. You have a middle up, which is this middle here. Now, when they throw the ball, this middle will identify that this player starts sweeping, and then he shuffles over and makes the touch on the other middle. So let's have a look. You can see that they start sweeping. So he's pushing his other middle back here because he knows that while this guy's sweeping and while this guy's coming to dummy half, there's no threat on the side, on his short side with these two players. Okay, but because there's no threat, he can push himself over to the other side of the field. And when they sweep, instead of now sweeping into a player who's up here making the touch, he's back here, almost onside. So now it's extremely difficult when you want to sweep. Look at the gap between yourself and your player here defending you. If he was up here like you want, you can step him this way, you can step him this way, you can do whatever you want because he's retreating. He needs to get back on side, but now he's onside and they can play man on. So even though he tries to skip around him, there's the touch there. All right, so that's a double touch. Basically, if you can identify that a sweep is coming, make that double touch, they'll sweep into a 3-on-3. Let's have another look at an example of a double touch. So that's a double touch by the defending team, and the defending team has basically won that touch. Let's have a look at another double touch. This one's from a previous reaction video. So you can see there, this is the middle we're talking about. If we go back a little bit. Okay, so he's getting this middle focused on him. He'll pass the ball to the other middle and make the touch on this player here. But the middle in front of the player with the ball now is seeing this. He's seen this player coming into sweep. This guy's going to half. So there's no one except a winger on this side. So he can push across into this side of the field, knowing that that's where all the players are, and make that double touch. But because he's done that, he needs to communicate with this player to start getting back on side. Because if he holds his line there, there's no point in even doing the double touch because he's offside anyway. So this is where the Mets player needs to start getting back on side, but he holds too long and he's sort of up near the touch now. Because of the double touch, you can get yourself back there, like where the link is now. If he's back there, you play man on, and the guy hasn't even swept around fully yet. And as we play on, he just catches himself too tight there, but you can still, he almost makes the touch there. It's just a good dive, they get to score, but had he have been a little bit more urgent when the double touch was called by his other middle, that was a touch easy. So let's have a look now. This is a clip that we've looked at in the past. Let's have a look when a double touch is made. What are your options in attack? So middle defender's up, middle defender pushes over, so you can see this is good from this player here. He's retreated out of the touch. He's not standing up here and having both players offside. So that's good. So when he sweeps around, he'll sweep straight into this player. But instead, now, the only way that we can attack the offside player is if he splits hard this way after the dump and the dummy half takes off. He now sweeps around. The dummy half's taken off, which means he's got to come in and shut down this gap. And now everyone just starts hitting holes. And the winger runs their J line. So as you can see here, runs, and it just becomes a 4-on-3. You just change up your attack into a 4-on-3 when they're trying to double touch. But it is very difficult to score. I know they scored there, but it actually can be very difficult to score because that's a pretty tight open side. So you'll normally find that the best point of action here is gunning it short side, and you'll probably get over from dummy half if you get a nice clean play of the ball. If they split hard enough to keep that link away from making that touch on you, that's where you'll find success. But they managed to throw the long ball here. The link was up a long way to try to get that channel, and it was a lucky tap back. I don't actually know who that's come off or whatever like that, but you can't really argue with the call. But yeah, that's double touch. So thanks for watching, guys, and we appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.
Number 9.
Okay. The big question is eye defense good? That's what a few people have been asking me in the comments lately, so this is a video on eye defense. So forgive the quality of the footage, is from a drone taken, but it will help just in explaining what exactly eye defense is. So at the play of the ball, you can see the defense structure is in a triangle. Now this is middle, link. Okay, now this defender here is called the eye defender. And the eye defender will never make touches when they're trying to do a strike dump. The only time he will make touches is if he's saving the try. Now a lot of times this is called a saver middle. And this middle here is called either the point middle or the mad dog middle. Now mad dog, by mad dog we mean like a dog on a leash is just up, sort of running around everywhere like a mad dog. Okay, now I've scribbled on the thing, so we'll keep moving. Now you can see there that that's the link trying to work hard, and he's always in good shape. So now when they try and run the play, the saver middle will step up, this middle will step up as well, and everyone will just sort of shut down. Now when you run a move, just say you want to run a rooster or a 4-on-3, now you need to make sure you're dumping on the middle. Now a lot of reasons team will do eye defense is if you throw the ball this way, you naturally want this middle. So eye defensive shape will mean that we send a link up and this middle. So your only options now are not the one you want. So it basically destroys the play before it even happens. That's in theory. And there is other reasons why we do eye defense. It's actually very popular in mixed. We'll talk about that a bit later in the video. But as you can see, that play gets shut down. This is more eye defense. You can see the triangle shape. Our eye defender is the number 2 here. And let's just watch what happens. Now the reason why this player pulled up there is because number 2 was waiting back here and he doesn't want to dump the ball too close to the line. Now these two have retreated, need to make the touch, and now because the Australian team have stopped and they're not running into their play, this number 2 can go and get them. Which is what happens. As soon as they've stopped and can run backwards, he now goes, and now they've run their play basically with no forward momentum. So they have to start from a static play. And because you're starting from a static play, it does mean that you're allowed to get back on side a lot easier. Let's have another look example of eye defense. This is the mad dog middle up, or the point middle. This middle's never going to make a touch unless somehow you've manipulated the attack really well. This link's going to help out if they try and drag the ball all the way over this side. Because we don't obviously want this middle here chasing over the other side of the field and leaving his link and wing with 40 meters of space to cover. That's just not going to happen. So that link will help out by walking forward and just sort of cutting the field, as a lot of people might say. So there it is here. You can see that these guys, they probably want someone like this guy here who can throw a big right to left pass, but they need that middle. Because if they dump it on the link, the dummy half is going to run straight into this middle, and it's just man on. We can't beat a man on a onside player as good as we can beat an offside player. So they try and get the next touch up. So they've got to go with the other side. Now the problem with this is there's too much space out here, which means it's a tiny open side and it's a lot easier to defend. So when I say about eye defense trying to destroy the play before it happens, let's have a look at what happens here. They're trying to get that eye defender middle. They're just throwing the ball around a little bit. And they're spending a lot of time and energy on getting that one middle. They're so focused on getting that middle, or they're so focused on milking a penalty because this team's not moving forward. Now, to that point there, I believe this referee would blow a penalty. Now, this is probably in the 7th edition rules, which is the edition before the one we're in now, where you were allowed to walk a lot more slowly towards the ball, which is probably why it wasn't penalised here. So with your eye defense, if you are running an eye defense, one time where you can get the eye defender to move forward is if, say, okay, that's links up, I'm going to throw it out to that link. Now, as soon as this player has the ball, you can now step up. The link's going to chase out here. Now, if she throws the ball back into the middle and the eye defender's stepped up, it's a hospital ball and they've got no forward momentum, so you can get back onside a lot easier. They've got no flow into that ruck. So that's a lot what eye defense is about. The reason they use it in mixed is to make sure that the girl is always on the short side defending man on, or manning in player. I know there's not really a term that describes that in a gender neutral way, but yeah, it's defending man on. You always want to have your girl players defending man on, which means the middle next to them is going to make a touch, so they're pulling corner, or the link's going to make a touch, so they're just defending man on. That's the reason why they do it in mixed. So yeah, if he had come up and slammed that, they would have had no momentum to run this play. So I'm just going to run through these examples. I'm not going to stop and talk too much unless I think I might need to. But this is eye defender. You can see him back. Whoop, you can see him back all the way there. Yeah, I will stop. I lied. You can see him back all the way there. So now they've got the middle here, which is taking up a lot of space. This is a men's game, by the way, and the link here as well. So this link can also step up if he needs to. But this middle's done a good job because he's forced the play all crowded up on this side. So let's see how they run their play. I believe it's a rooster. But when they run this rooster, the ball play here is going to run straight into that eye defender, which is what he does. The eye defender will make that touch. He's right in front of him. He throws the cutout ball. Now this is where it goes to man on. Throws the cutout ball. This defender had this player. This defender's got this player. Now the reason this is a try is because I'm not sure if the winger had any communication to him, but he just decided to shut down. Now if he held on his man, that's stopped. Okay, let's go again. We run, but we run straight into that eye defender. And it's a changeover. But let's have a look now at the way eye defense can be attacked. And there's some really bad weaknesses when it comes to eye defense. Let's have a look at the first one. So now all we're doing here is keeping our triangle together, and I think this might be a link and a middle, but all they're doing is they're staying a little bit, they're keeping a little bit of distance away from the ball. So if this player comes in too hard, we pass the ball out. If this player comes in too hard, we pass the ball out the other side. And the idea is to get this player penalized for not walking forward. So we're just waiting. There's the pass. Now he's progressed himself up. Now he has to make the touch. Tries to dominate the play of the ball, but is scored on. And when we do have a look at that touch as well, we have both middles up and a link still hanging on the 7 as well. So too many players offside. Very easy to attack 2 middles and a link all the way up that far. So here's another one. Links up, middles up. Okay, and it looks like it's going to be a dump, trying to dump on the link he's going to make the touch, but this player will just bounce out, which is what happens. Bounce out, try. So it can be set up really well. He could be yelling out to this player here, just go down, go down, go down, and it's just a little bounce play. You can do that a lot in park touch. It's actually quite effective, especially in mixed, when you've got that boy link working extra. Another one. Links coming in heaps, and we just get them for numbers. Same again with that eye defense. Another play that you can run. Now we have a video on the channel called Sniper Defense. Now if you run an out ball, which is what they're about to play, spoiler alert, and this link would normally get a good pre-touch, he would fly in and just shut that down. But because, now I'm not sure if they're on the right players or whatever, but because he's still running backwards because he was he was off the line trying to help out in the defense, he can't actually move forward until he gets back on side, which is a problem. So they're running a play. Now there's the out ball and he still hasn't got back on side yet. So you're running a play at someone who's retreating. The chances of you beating them are a lot higher. So there's the out ball. By the time he gets on side and realizes, it's too late. Whereas if he had been back moving forward, sorry, my mistake, that wasn't a sniper one, that was a middle out ball, but this next one is a sniper one. If he was moving forward, okay, he would have been able to make the choice to chase out a lot better. So this is Manly, they're going to run a quarterback play. Now, the link is just off screen there. So normally what would happen is this player pulls corner, and you've seen before that quarterback really beats this saving middle, because the saving middle is always a lot tighter. So the saving middle comes in, and because normally a quarterback, if you can read it as an open side link, you would fly in and snipe the play. Because you are up here defending, it just makes it so much harder to get back on side, and now you risk not being able to snipe in defense because you're still moving back on side because you are up so high. So your pre-touch as an open side link is hindered quite a bit. So because of that, you can see the saving middle's beaten, and now you've got to make a decision like this whether you can make the touch or not, which is a lot harder. Lucky enough, the touch is made, but you did have a 3-on-2 that you had to cover. Here's another one again, a quarterback. Now let's say this link was up on the 7 meters, or I think this might have been a 5 at this game. But when we beat that saving middle, because he's too far up, getting back on side is very difficult. So those are just the kind of things. So it does have some good things and it does have some bad things about eye defense. My personal verdict, I would only ever do it in mixed for the reasons that I spoke about, keeping the girl link at man on. The reason why I wouldn't do it in men's or women's is because you're spending too much time and energy trying to destroy the play before it happens. Whereas if it actually does happen and you're in eye defense, it puts you out of shape. You're completely out of shape to what you would be practicing your defensive policies anyway. Whereas if you just defend shutdown defense, you can always practice defending the exact same way and condition yourself to get really good at it. That's just my personal opinion. A lot of people do love eye defense. I've done eye defense before in teams that I've coached, and it's been very successful. But yeah, let me know which defensive policy you prefer in the comments. And we hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.
Number 8.
Hey everyone, today we're going to have a look at the ML play, or the 33 peel play, but a cool way that your team might be able to defend it. So we've just seen the first 33 peel there was a successful one. They ran onto the ball, beat the toucher, and picked the right option. So I've seen this play actually a few times on the channel just because it's very impressive. So let's have a look at a couple of 33 peels that have been defended. Alright, so just basically, just in case you haven't seen a 33 peel, 2 middles playing the ball. This link's going to be running onto it. This player's going to pull corner, split, hit short side, link runs onto the ball, middle gets around. It's basically like a short side rooster. And the reason it's called 33 peel is 2 middles in New Zealand terminology is 3s, with your links as 2s. So it's a 33 ruck peeling around the 2. ML comes from the fact that it used to be called MML, but it was just awkward to say, so they shortened it to ML, like a true Australian way. We just shorten everything. All right, so here's the little wraparound, and you can have a look here. All right, so as this player here started to pull corner, the link has shot up. All right, not necessarily to shoot up and make this touch, but if you get up nice and fast before this player here can wrap around fully, what you're doing is you're cutting this angle off for the ball carrier. Because now, like, if this player can't just magically teleport out here and be the extra man. So while that time is used of him trying to run around and get there, you shoot up, you hold here, and then once sort of you've held a little bit and allowed this player to pull direct or back straight, then you can move out as this player wraps around. So you're not necessarily, well, obviously if this guy's still behind and he's lazy sweeping around, yeah, you can go and pinch that touch. But once he's coming around, that's when you move out of the way. And all you've done is you've forced the ball carrier to go back into that middle, which allows everyone to play man on. All right, so when they play man on here, it's nice footwork by New Zealand, but Australia are able to defend it. Let's have a look at another example. Here's the ML. Look at the link fly up. And you can see he's flown up here, but he's always remembered that this is his man. So essentially, he's just rendered all this field unusable. He's cut that field off. All right, the only thing they can do there is throw the ball to the winger who's got a winger marked anyway. So now he's allowed his middle to recover. And watch the middle now. Everyone just goes man on. All right, so it's just very important that you're not flying up and flying in too far to make this touch, because if he flies all the way in and tries to commit to that touch, they just do a little blind pop over the top and all of a sudden it's 2-on-1. So he flies up, okay, but he's prioritized that wrapping around player. And he's forced, so you're essentially forcing him back to the open side into man on. But worst case scenario, let's say this player still is beaten, you will still be able to defend it more often than not, because what you've done is you've cut all this field off and made the open side really tight. And these holes, when there's a really tight open side, are squeezed and nice and compressed. So it's very harder to hit a hole and a lot easier to defend because the gaps are a lot more narrow. Let's have a look at another example. But yeah, that's just man on. And this is if you have not so much a lazy wraparound play, but if they're not getting there too fast, you can see he comes up and they try to go for it. He takes the pass. A bit more risky, this one. But let's say he doesn't throw that. You can see that this player would be able to recover and make that touch and just push all the other guys out. All right, but this one he gets up in the channel. They try that little pass, but because he shot up and read the play really well, he was able to pick that pass off. Now, it's good practice to step off the line here, because even if they don't give it as an ML, if you step up and get present here, and always make sure that you've got your eye on whoever that ends up playing link, even if they do a middle and take off from dummy half, you're forcing them back into that open side, which is now only half the field, because all of this side they can't use. Unless they just try to run around you or try to beat you with talent, they're not going to beat you with structure. So you've shot up, you've cut the play to go only back that side. Okay, because they're not going to throw the ball over top of you because the ball's in the air for too long. Everyone can just sort of reset themselves. And I don't think I have another example. The rest of the video is this player running the length of the field. But that is one way. There's different ways you can defend an ML. There's ways that you can completely destroy the ML before the touch is even made. But this is just what I, in my opinion, see as the most basic way to get your links off that line and defending the ML, or the 33PL, sorry, I should... To be honest, I probably prefer the New Zealand terminology. It's actually a lot easier. I wish I learned that way. But thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be back soon for another one. Don't know which one it's going to be because I record about a bunch at a time, but thanks. Don't forget to subscribe.
Number 7.
Hey guys, so today we're going to have a look at man on defense. What is man on defense and how you can attack against man on defense? So that's a good example, and I really like this view. They only did this 1 year at NTL's, getting the second ground live stream to this view, and it was really interesting to watch. But anyway, so we have the two middles there from the Sharks defending. That's a middle and a middle. So let's watch what happens. Cobras play the ball. Middles are pressing like they should do. But you notice here, all of a sudden they look to be fading, or fading for the link. Okay, so in theory you want to drag this middle out, but the way the Sharks defend is the link comes up. As soon as anything is involved with the link in the play the ball, the link comes up and helps out with the touch, allowing the middle to drop early. Okay, and you can drop early because the touch is imminent. If the link went up and missed the touch, then you're probably looking at the middle getting, then you're looking at the middle probably getting penalised. But if he gets up there and makes that touch quickly, okay, that's when we have an imminent touch. And you can see now by the time the dummy half gets there, all right, there's a big gap between the defender as well. So he can now compete or call man on because he knows now he's not going to get beaten. There's that much space between the two. So this guy can pull out to his own man and everyone can do the same. All right. So he would just call go. I've got man on. He could call anything he wants. And here's the slow-mo. Everyone's just sort of chasing out to their player. The long ball would have been covered. The tap back would have been covered as well. So that's man on. Getting your link involved in that touch. Your middles can drop and just sort of man up. All right. Very hard to defend, to attack against that because it basically renders your link or any play towards your link ineffective. So what are your options? You can, an obvious one would be put your link as a middle and you do a middle 4-on-3. Okay, that can work. Although it just means you're not able to drag that middle across as far. Okay, but it does work. A lot of teams do middle as their go-to. But let's have a look at a play. If you really want to use your link or anything involved like that, or you go for a play and the link actually makes the touch, what can you do? So I know this is mixed, but the link still does make the touch on this. You can see the link coming up here. And they run a counties. Well, it's like pretty much a counties. Steps in. Okay. This play here is got all the distance. He'll take the ball. Everyone else can push out and play man on. All right. So that's basically what's happened here. Goes into the line. However, there's a late switch. There's the late switch there. Or some might call that a cut. All right, so let's look at it at full speed. And it goes into the line, late switch. And the important thing about a late switch is when you're running it, two things. You want to run all the way into the line. You run all the look at this defender here. The further you run into the line, the more committed he is and the more blind he is to what's going on around him. When you're about to make the touch and save a try, you can't help it, but your tunnel vision just basically narrows in on itself. And the switcher is extremely deep. Okay? Which means if he got some form of read on it, he wouldn't be able to reach out and touch the guy. If he was up here doing a very shallow switch, he could probably just reach an arm out and get them both. All right? So he's very deep, and it's a nice pass out in front of the player. Completely beats that man on defense. Wollongong are very, very good at doing that in mixed. We'll have a look at one more example in a men's game. It is the Sharks again. All right, and lucky for us, it's the exact same player. So here is the same defender as the first clip, and the links up made the touch. All right, and that link's in the dummy half. Like the link's in the play of the ball. That's why he's done that. And we run. Oh, bit of a glitch. Here we go. Link's made the touch, run, late switch. All right. So he's running and man on. You can see the space he's got. Whoop, going to man on. Runs all the way into the line, commits that defender, late switch. And he goes with the long ball. All right, and that's what I would recommend. If you don't do middle, if you don't want to do middle, and that link is up making the touch, I would just practice a late switch. Okay, and this late switch, if you practice it enough, you could run this player coming up that late switch. All right, because a lot of defenders are specifically checking this player for a late switch. All right, their eyes are on both of these guys. They've got the ball, but they know that the guy next to him is a risk of becoming a late switch. So if you send the link on the far side out the back for a late switch, he might never be seen. Okay, and you can see that there's very, very close to recovering on that play. But that's man on defense. That's how you get some man on defense. You get your link up making the touch. But remember, you only do that if your attacking link is in the play of the ball. If he comes up, let's say that's middle and he comes up and tries to make the touch there, they just play the ball and rip an out ball to their link, and it's a 2-on-1, and you cooked. You can't recover from that. But if you help out when it is a middle link play the ball, which is what it is now, middles can drop back and then just all chase out and man on. And that's man on defense. Or one basic version of man on defense. There's other ways you can do it, but that is probably the most basic way. Getting your links active is what we call it, and helping out on the touch. But thanks, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Appreciate you watching these videos, and we'll see you next time with another breakdown.
Number 6.
In this episode of the breakdown, we're going to be looking at sniping in defense. So right here, we've got a reverse quickie. And you can see they just burn them on the outside. And if that doesn't work and they do chase, we get them on the inside. And the reason for that is because we run a reverse quickie when the middles are really tight. We do have a video on this, so this is going to be very quick. When the middles are real tight, and if we do find that they are loose, the first toucher has actually pulled corner, and we either get the gap in the middle for us to step back into, or we can burn on the outside. Okay, so that's just the beauty of a reverse quickie if it's done really well. Now, the same thing can be said for an out ball, as we see here. Middles are really tight, and we go against the grain, or if the middles are a little bit looser, it opens up the middle. Okay, so when you look at that, that's a really tough thing to defend. Okay, we tighten up, they go out. Okay, we loosen up the other middle, and they hit between us. So what do we do here? How can we defend this? Well, this is an out ball. For those who are counting, this is dumped on the link. It is still an effective way to defend, but just for the video purposes and coaching purposes, we'll just pretend that might be a middle. Anyway, so let's have a look at this play. Out ball here. Touch. Now, it may look like, because she's off camera, that she's well offside. She's standing well offside, but the last video on this will show that you can do this relatively easy and being onside. But this one, she's just off camera, so I can't prove it to you. But it's called sniping. So there's the out ball. Now we can move now, pretty much. As soon as that ball hits the ground, the referees at rep level are allowing us to move, even though the rule book says dummy half getting possession. They use the terminology of dummy half in position. So there's the out ball, and it's the link coming in from her position. Okay, so the video that we do about pre-touch, she gets on the line, she gets back to the line and gets onside as quickly as she can. And as soon as she sees, just go back. Whoop, apologies, I've gone back too far. Now, as soon as she sees this, the wind up, no, I didn't pause it. As soon as she sees the wind up, I'm just wasting time now. We'll get to the wind up. Here, As soon as she sees that ball go to the hip, that means there's an out ball coming. So she just starts flying in. And while she's a few meters away now, to catch this ball, you need to be watching the ball, which is this direction. So any touch that comes from this side, you're completely blind to, and you're not expecting it. So by the time you turn around, unless you can see out of the back of your head to throw that pass because someone's touching, by the time you turn around to pretty much scan the situation and make your decision, you've just been sniped. And that's where it comes from, because it's just out of nowhere. It's a sniper. Let's have a look at another one. Another out ball. Sniped. Okay. Now, these defenders here were quite loose. So yes, it may look like that this middle here actually has him marked fairly easy. But remember, if you're loose as a middle to cover this out ball, it means the spacing between the middles is huge. So there's the risk of stepping back in between the two middles and diving. So to counter that, there's the reaction there. And remember, this player here has to look at the ball, so he's not actually looking anywhere near where this link's coming from on the far side. And by the time he catches it and he has a look, there's the touch. Okay, and it doesn't matter, like this player here, he goes past the touch a little bit. In a perfect world, you don't do that, but there's no one going to be dummy half there. But that's a really nice sniper there. So that's another out ball. Now remember, these can be done on reverse quickies. I think that the next video is on a reverse quickie. They can also be done on a quarterback. So basically, that's anything that's ripped against the grain straight away, we can snipe from. Now I want you to keep a look at this player here, because he's going to be the sniper in this defensive play. And it'll show you that you can be on side here. Now this is a 7 meters. This was the first year they introduced the 7 meters. Now you look at his pre-touch. He was moving forward slowly, but he's back on the line now, getting ready. And he's nice and tight. So there they dump. Now he's still on the line. You can still see his foot here on the line, and they've just touched the ball. And he knows that it's a reverse quickie, and you can see how tight these middles are. So the threat is all this space out here that's occupied by one winger. There's the reverse quickie. He's only just seen the defender right in front of him. Now, unless he's got a tap-on pass that can hit the chest every time, he's not going to get anything away. Especially if it's first touch, where you don't want to risk anything. We'll just play this back again. Bang. I'll go in slow motion now. Shoots up off the line. Sniped. And what's good about this as well is the winger came up as well on this. The winger's up, reacting really well. So if he does get that tap on away, normally a tap on takes the speed off it. So the winger will have a little bit more time to react than if he was able to catch and pass in the one motion. But yeah, that's snipering. So out balls, reverse quickies, quarterbacks are the main three that we use them on. If they run a out ball, say a middle ruck, and they rip it to the link, it's the same thing, except your winger will snipe that. I'm sure there's plenty of footage out there right now, but I only have so much time in a day to get some footage of touch football for these videos. So, but yes, you can snipe as a winger to hit the link on the out, to hit the link when the link is on the out. But yeah, thanks guys. Hope you enjoyed this video on sniping, and we'll see you on the next breakdown.
Number 5.
On this video, I just want to quickly show you how many tries have you seen like this. You see this and you look at it, and after it you'll be like, oh yep, they swept around, they got the 3-on-2, quick hands try. Or another option would be just the short ball, and this guy here runs through this hole and scores. Okay, we see that a lot. But I want to emphasize something that a lot of people don't really notice. Let's have a look at this defender here who's just made the touch and is chasing the sweep. Now he's come in, the link's come in. But what's happened here, have a look. He made the touch. So there was no need for that link to come in. Now, I ask you, who's in the wrong? Is it this link for coming in on the short side? Well, maybe. This all depends now on whether or not there was communication from the middle. Now, back in the day, the communication, they always said, it starts from the winger. Well, at this point of the game, this is where communication from the middle is most important. Because if he's going to make that touch, he has to tell the link, because the link doesn't know. The angle that you're at the moment, the link is just watching the ball runner, and he can never tell if your middle's beat or not. And especially because this player is a live player, if he's received no communication from the middle, even though the middle might be definitely going to make that touch, and the link comes in like this, I would say they're probably both in the wrong. More so the middle. This is where the most important thing we need. Now, look, obviously you cannot hear this video. I have no idea whether he's talking or not. We're just using this as a scenario because of the lines that everyone's running. But if he's not talking to his link, the link now has to guess what's happening. And if I was that link as well, I'd be going for the ball. I'd be forcing the passes and not letting just that guy just walk over the line. But you do see that often. Someone will come in and everyone will just be focusing on the Swans there. They got the 3-on-2 when they actually didn't get the 3-on-2. Okay, it was only because someone on a 3-on-3 shut down when they didn't need to. They had good reason to, but they didn't need to. Let's have a look at another example. A lot of people after this try will think, oh, that Manly player just run around her opposing link and got the 2-on-1. But again, let's have a look at the link. She's right there to make the touch. Like, there's still plenty of space out between her and the try line. So she's actually got on the outside of a link. But at this point here, again, we don't know what they're actually saying. The link needs to be talking to her winger, saying stay out, or I've got, she's mine, or something like that. So now the winger's focus is on the Manly winger instead of doing that. But again, if the wingers heard nothing, then they have to guess. And normally a guess is, I'm going to shut down. All right. So this is just why it's important for that communication, starting from the middle of the field, communicating to your outside players. Because it's not up to the winger here to say who this link's got. It's up to the winger to listen to the communication. If she hears make the touch, then you can make the touch. If she hears stay out, you got to stay out. Sometimes it's okay when there's that far, when you're that far off the line, which is probably 12 out at the moment. Sometimes it's okay when you're that far out of the line to hit, because it just allows this link to then chase that winger down. Look, sometimes, especially in mixed, if you have a boy link there, they might be able to chase a girl winger down. But in this case here, she kind of gets tangled behind the Manly player in trying to get across, which the Manly player can't disappear. But that's just an importance of communication. It's just emphasizing how important that tiny little bit of communication can be, because you do see a lot of tries like that. Someone will come in and be like, well, why did they come in? Maybe it's because they weren't communicated to from the inside player. That's all it is. But yeah, thank you. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Number 4. Hey guys, welcome to another video. And look, you've seen situations like this. It's just the dummy half getting through, normally on the short side, and it leads to a try. But what I want to talk about is what we call the flick touch. But it's just a touch. There's nothing special about it. It just counts as a touch. But it's just a little technique that we can use, and it might save you 1 in 3 tries. Okay, now let's talk about this link here in the defensive line. This guy in the green. Now what he's doing now is, because it's short side, this player's marking,
he's marking him and he's marking the winger. That's basic short side defense. It's man on, which is totally fine. That's exactly what we want them to be doing. But look at the tight gap that the dummy half is running here. Now, yes, we're still locked in to our player. All right? But with our peripheral vision, as soon as the guy with the ball is out, like obviously he's in a position where you're close enough to touch him. I want you to think, if you're looking straight and that guy with the ball is running past you, you stay locked onto your player. As soon as he's out of your peripheral vision, you reach over and touch him. Just reach there and touch him. Have someone try it. Just stand still walking straight and have them walk past you. And as soon as you cannot see them anymore, while you're looking straight, lean in and touch them. You'd be surprised actually how easy it is and how not far away they are from you. And if he does that there, we just save a try. I'm not saying he doesn't need to still man on. He does still need to man on. But all it takes is a slight lean, stick your hand out, see if you can flick him in the shoulder. All right, let's have a look at an example where we have some people that are doing that while still manning on to the player that they should be. Okay, there's a good example of a flick touch. Let's have a look. All right, so it's man on, and should be locked on to the winger out there. Complete short side man on defense. Oh, it's called man on. It's girl's touch. Anyway, there it is. So you can see she's still engaged on her player there, but while she starts to break through the line, all right, she's still got eyes for her player, and it's not, you don't have to put your body in front of them, but it's just lean in, whack them with your arm. And there's a try saved. And you get the ball back, which is great. Let's look at another example. If you remind a bit of an out ball, I think this one is. Yep, there it is there. And the first thing here is, this is an out ball, so this isn't dummy half. So you can't hover on the line here. Excuse me. Can't hover on the line because they can dive at you. So what we do is we press forward. All right, we're still, shape is locked onto this player. He's trying to chase across. We step forward. And we keep our shape and our movements towards this player, but it's just our arm. It's just our arm and our reach that turns, twists a little bit, reaches out, whacks them on the shoulder. Well, not whacks them, but touches them on the shoulder. And if they throw the pass there, that's what's good about your shape still being correct. You just man on like you would normally do. Here's one here. This one's beaten, wait, touch. And full speed. Hold, flick. And that's the flick touch. Just it'll save, try, and look, worst case scenario here is you miss. Worst case scenario. But normally it's dummy half. You miss, but you're still marked up. Everyone's still doing their job, and your chances of surviving this play are the exact same as if you didn't try that little flick with your hand. So you've really got nothing to lose here, especially when they might have numbers for a small situation. For a small time. It's very late. I'm recording this as it's very late, and I didn't have much sleep last night. I've been at Vorden Cup all day. We're doing a video about Vorden, by the way, which is probably going to come out before this video. Anyway, but yes, flick touch, give it a try. Like, you can try this anywhere. You can try it at social, but try that situation at your training. Just have someone staring straight with someone walking past them. Just get them to tell you when you can no longer see them in your peripheral vision, and then say, can you touch them? They'll reach, they'll touch them, and it'll be a light bulb moment. It was for me, and I'm sure it will be for a lot of other people. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. And we'll see you on another video. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, do all that sort of stuff. Help the channel out, because I love touch footy, and I know you guys do too. All right, see you next time. Number 3.
Today we're going to have a look at the defensive policy channel defense, which is a line defense. So you may have seen a lot of highlights of tries that look like this, a long range intercept, specifically from a link, just like that. And that's called channel defense. Now channel defense really involves the links, especially. My previous video we talk about pre-touch and post-touch. Those are really focused at, well, it's focused on everyone, but we really focus that on the middles. And with this channel defense, the middles job actually doesn't really change too much. It's our links job. Okay, so apologies, this video actually doesn't show the full dump. So we've got a dummy half run. This player's pulled corner, excuse me. And here's our middle who's just stepped off the line to get good post touch. And he's showing the ball carrier a little gap so he can make the shutdown with his left hand at the last minute. That's our good post touch from our middle, but our channel defense is our link. Now notice how high he is off the line. It might not look too high there. He's a lot higher than his middle. He's probably about 4 meters off the line. Now his job, when the middle makes a commitment to make the touch, his job is to be close enough to get a touch on the short runner, the other middle running the front door line, and high enough to pick off the pass that's supposed to be for the number 9, the bullet pass. And that's what happens here. As you can see, he makes the decision, okay, you're up and in, you're defending this guy. Notice the middle's making a nice touch with his left hand, and he's probably still close enough that he can also jam this number 4. So he goes for the bullet pass. But now, because he's high enough, bang, there it is there. Now if he goes to that link, it's basically going to be an intercept. So now our winger, as you can see, he's nowhere in sight. He can actually go out to his winger because he knows that the only really pass he can get off is the one that goes over the top of everyone. And here our winger can then chase that out pretty successfully. So he gets the catch. The fact that he's got 3 meter arms, that helps him. But it's good placement here. Let's see another one as well. Picked off. Gets touched there, but they still gain possession. And the rules that we play with, that if you take an intercept, the first touch is a 0. So the dump after that becomes your full set, which is probably the best rule change that they've done in a long time. Okay, so we'll talk about our pre-touch first. Could be better. You can see this middle is on his way back. He probably could have been a bit further back. Link can be a little bit further back as well, but that's no one's perfect with that. But looking at our channel defense, our link here getting off the line. So as soon as he's touched it, he gets up off the line. Now he's close enough that if they want to pass the ball short, he can make that touch, obviously. And now he's up high enough, so when they try and bullet pass that to the link running that link line, he makes the catch. There it is. And they just roll with their rucking pattern off that. Let's have a look at another clip. Bang. Shout out to Mitch Walkerton. Great defense. But let's have a look at this. So you can see this middle's on his way back. Link's on his way back to get in a good position as well. So good pre-touch. They've hit the line now. And you can see that they're defending in the gaps. They're not actually defending people. Well, they are, but they're not standing in front of a person is what I'm saying. This middle is looking to give him some space, and if he wants to try and take it at the last minute, he's going to reach out with his left hand and make the touch, while our link gets up nice and close, but nice and high. And he tries to go for the pass to the link. Probably got a little bit higher, just for the sake of this video, but he's in the right channel. And it's called channel defense because he's in the channel between the link and the middle. He's got that covered. There's the pass, and he's got it. He's one of the fastest players in the league at the moment. It's one of the only times you'll see him get run down as well. Here's another one. Bang. This game must have been played at 8 in the morning, I think, because it looks like the sun's pretty low. So let's have a look at the pre-touch. Is pretty good. You can see these guys are back a long way, getting in good position to move forward off the line. Touch is going to pull corner. Now this plays a counties, and all that means is our middles just need to be tighter because they can run and dive between our feet. So that's the only difference. If it's a dummy half, you can show them a bit more space. But if it's a guy that's live on an ML, counties, or even a quickie or something like that, or a sweeper, we need to be tightening up that middle and getting our link up off the line to get in the way. So you can see here, our link will get up nice and high. And if he goes the short line, he makes the touch. But if he goes the bullet pass to the link, which is what he's done, our defender makes the catch. So the only option for a pass that the defense is giving him is over the top, which has got to go over the top of everyone. So our winger, who knows that this... Oh, a QR code. Let's not have that. Knows that this... If you scan that, I have no idea what it's for, but I bumped the pen, so it's probably taking you to something with XP pen. So our link is not really a threat. Sorry, not our link. The attacking link is not really a threat to get the ball off that that hole. So our winger can sort of fade out to the wing and have a bit of man-on defense there, which does take the pressure off our wingers. And there's the catch there. Not sure I have if there's going to be one more clip or that's it. Oh, there is one more. Okay, let's look at the pre-touch here because this is State of Origin, so they're pretty crisp on that. So there's the touch, and they're nice in a line, and that's really good. They're probably up a meter off the line because that's where the referee is, so it might be a little bit confusing for them, but they get to the line pretty quick, and you can see that they're leaning forward to bounce forward. And it's a big thing in defense. You want to be moving forward. You want to be placing yourself in a channel, and you want to be moving forward. So again, this is a counties play, and he's already tightened up the middle, or the gaps between the two middles. He's already tightened that up, and our link is going to get up nice and high. That's our link there. Yep, so he slips over and he's... So again, tight enough to make the touch on this middle, because that's a link middle there. So absolutely nothing's getting through there. We know that we've got this covered by our link getting off the line. It's getting nice and tight. And by our link getting off the line, they go for that bullet pass, and it's caught. It is it's not an easy catch, but at worst case scenario, you'll be able to knock the ball down. But with good practice, especially when you do this sort of stuff in a warm-up where you just practice some 3-on-2s, and it's all about one defender taking the ball while the other getting up in the channel, you actually get pretty good at taking these passes. Like that. But yeah, worst case scenario, you'll just knock the ball down and you defend again and you just force the error. Thanks for watching, guys. That's really all we've got on channel defense. Hope you got something out of it. Let us know in the comments if you do it a little bit different. And you probably have already seen the video on passive links, but this defense is why we invented passive links, because our pass to the link was sort of shut down, so we put our link deeper so we could get the pass away from him. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. And let me know in the comments what that QR code was too, because I just bumped a button and it came up. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Number 2. Hey guys, welcome to another breakdown, and today we're looking at a bit of line defense. We call it skateboarding or surfboard defense, or just body shape from where I'm from. You might call it somewhere different, but we're looking at this play here. We have a middle up making the touch. Now I know that the play doesn't come off probably the way I'd like to normally in a breakdown, but we run a reverse quickie, which he splits towards the open. There it is there. This guy's pulled corner. Now, traditionally that's what you want from a middle. You want him to pull corner, but that obviously means that if you run the reverse quickie and you've pulled a hard corner, this player here on the inside's got a huge gap. So you can see all it takes now is an inside pass and it's an easy try. However, this guy sees the space here and he scores. So how can we defend while we still need to listen to policy, which policy is pull corner, but how do we defend the reverse quickie? Well, the trick of it is, this is why we call it like a skateboardy style or a surfboard. Let's have a look at another example when they run the exact same play. I'll do it at full speed first. There's the middle making the touch. Now you can see they've pulled corner, but it's a no try. Let's just go back and have a look. So we'll slow this down. So middle's done really good. This middle here, just to point out, she's starting to get back on side, so that's good pre-touch. Okay, there's nice. She's not stuck up here making the touch as well. And this middle making the touch has good, I'm pointing at the green one. The middle making the touch here, she's making the touch with her left hand because her body shape needs to be towards the corner, because that's the side that's basically got the least amount of defenders on side. So you want to be protecting there. But again, the Rebels run that reverse quickie. She's still pulling corner. That's fine. But you watch what she does here. Flips. She flips and now starts protecting the open side. Why does she flip? Well, firstly, that's why we call it surfboard or skateboard defense, is because imagine she's on a little, never done this before, little skateboard there, and she wants to do basically a 180 to flip her body around so she can defend that inside. So you just imagine that you're on a skateboard. It's good to use a term like that for juniors, but the time to flip your body shape is when the ball has been passed off the deck immediately, like that. So as soon as you start pulling corner, you can see she's still got probably one eye on the ball, which is great. You don't want to be just looking at the line. As soon as she notices that the ball has been passed to the open side, that is your key to then flip around, and now you need to protect this gap because this is the player that's got the ball. All right, so your rolls are flipped. Now, instead of you getting protected on your inside, as soon as the ball's passed, you need to flip around and protect your other middle. Otherwise, that gap is just going to present itself and it's going to be a really easy try. So there's the flip, and now she's chasing. So when they try that inside pass, all right, she's there to make the touch. Okay, so now you're probably wondering, why would you flip? Because that leaves you vulnerable for a quarterback if this person here was to then bounce out late. So when as soon as the ball's passed this way, it's now these two players' jobs to get off the line. So your short side defenders now are treated like open side. They get up, so when you do try that bounce out, all right, you're bouncing straight into defenders who have presented themselves really high off the line. Now we're getting into some pretty intricate details on line defense. Okay, but as soon as the ball, that's something we could probably talk about. As soon as the ball's passed off the deck, so it's a quick release to this player here, now we can treat your short side link and winger like they're the open side. All right, they don't have to come in so hard. They just got to get off the line, because if they bounce back out, they'll usually bounce straight in front of them. So it's not a case of coming in and shutting down. All right, I think we have one more example. It's a nice touch. It's good defense there. I guess any good defense that stops a try is good defense, but that's good policy. And look, if you stick to policy like that, you're going to keep your tries to an absolute minimum. All right, so here's another one. Okay, so this is a little bit different because this is a link who we're talking about, but it's the same sort of deal. So we have our link pulling corner, which is great, but you can see, I know the arrow's in the way a little bit, but you can see he's still got one eye on the play. You can see there he's still looking, and that's very important. All right, because we have a lot of people learning about policy and line defense, and they'll make a touch and they'll just look at the line because, one, they don't want to break policy. They know they've got to pull corner. But two, they want to make sure that they're onside. So we need to be practicing. Well, that's why we make touches out heaps far away, so we don't actually have to hit the line. But that's why we need to be practicing, like even as little as how many steps does it take for you to get onside? or you just run these drills so many times that you sort of get a natural idea of how far away the line would be. But you got your eye on the ball. Very important. And again, as soon as they switch, as soon as they pass, you can see him flip his body shape around. All right, because I know this guy's pulling corner and this guy will step up to cover, but that does allow this gap to present itself. So you always want to be protecting that gap. And there it is there. And he's protected the gap. And you can see he doesn't have to get back on the line. This is another good talking point about defense. If he makes the touch on the 7 here, he's offside because he has to touch the line. You make the touch a little bit further out, then you only have to go back to there, and it basically means they can't dive at your feet because they've got to dive past you. And in doing so, you make the touch on the way. But again, skateboarding defense, you can call it surfboarding defense. It doesn't really matter. If you've got your own names for it, please let me know in the comments, because it's interesting learning about what moves are called in different parts of the world. But thanks for watching, guys. Always do appreciate people to jump on the channel and check out the videos. We'll have plenty more coming because I've dedicated this day to just making videos. So don't forget to subscribe. Please join up as a member if you'd like to get these videos before anyone else, and you can have your own private chat with myself and all the other premium members as well. So again, thanks for your support, and we'll see you on the next breakdown. And number 1. So on this video, we're going to be looking at pre-touch and post-touch. This is a tool that we use for line defense. It's actually a very basic tool. So right when you start teaching 6-on-6 line defense, we talk about pre-touch and post-touch. Now, as you may know in the name, pre-touch stands for what you do, what your actions are as a defender before the touch. So pre-touch. So let's have a look at pre-touch right now. So Manly are defending, and normally, we get the pen. Normally, players want to dump on one of the 2 middles. Unless you are running a punish play, which is like a quickie on the link or a middle sweep, you really only want to be dumping on the middles because it provides options either side. So if you dump somewhere out here, you're really only trying to attack there or right there. You can't open up for a 5-on-4. It's a really impossible pass. So everyone can just shut down. So middle, go up, and as you can see, the most important is the open side. So their pre-touch is dropping back to the line. They want to be on the line as soon as possible. In a perfect world, it's as soon as they play that ball. Okay, as soon as the ball's on the ground, you want to be on this line. Now it's a fine line because the rule states that you must be moving forward. Everyone must be moving forward while ever someone's in that 7 meters, or in this case it might have been 5, I'm not sure. So when the touch is imminent, that's when we're allowed to retreat. So as you can see, this player's coming in for the dump. Everyone else is retreating back to the line. That's our pre-touch. And the reason we want to be retreating back to the line is because we want to be getting off the line when the ball's coming at us. And it's not as important now because this is dummy half, but looking at a later clip, it will become clear. Now post-touch. So as you can see, everyone here is in gaps. No one's actually in front of a player. Well, this person is, but the defender in front of him is actually going to be running into that hole. And we hold. We get off the line a little bit and we hold. As a middle, we hold. And we almost want that dummy half to think that there is a channel there that they can run through. So when they're a dummy half, they can't dive at your feet, obviously. They're dummy half. So you can give them a little bit of space as this middle. You can be like, hey, there's a hole there. I want you to run through it. Everyone else is sort of holding their ground and waiting to react to a pass. But because because you're providing a little bit of a gap, you now become closer to this middle here. If he throws the ball, you actually have the chance to react. And this person pushes out, this winger pushes out, because that gap there is a little bit bigger than normal. And at the last minute, when they start to run through it, you reach. Now you don't turn in. Look at the way he's reaching. His body shape is always ready to chase out if needed.
So he reaches in with, in this case, his left arm. Nearly got fooled then. With his left arm and makes the touch. And notice how that touch is made right when he's getting through the line. So the dummy half probably thought, oh, there's a gap there, I'm going to run through it. And then he reached in to make the touch. And by the time the defender made the touch, there was no way he could get a pass out without the pass going this high. And then everyone else can react, or Manly probably catch the ball. But again, looking back to the dump, you can see the open side, getting a good pre-touch, and now getting good post-touch. You can focus in training on the middles. These are the two middles now. Everyone else will get the picture from there. If everyone can do the middles job, excellent. So you can see now, there's the touch. He's pulling corner. That's good shape. Not so much the link, but that's okay. He's still moving towards the corner. But you can see the other middle back there already. That's good pre-touch. Link is not too bad. He's on his way back as well. Wingers can be better, but he's got a little bit more time to get his movements right. And you can see what this middle does, who's back. Now the touching middle is probably going to show his inside shoulder and get beaten on the inside, which is totally fine. Give them the 4-on-3. Now you can see this middle is holding, Link is holding, and he's off the line. And he's showing him a little bit of a hole to run through. And there it is at the last minute. And you can see him try to push that pass. But because this player is literally standing in the way, he can't throw through him. He has to throw behind him. He can't throw in front of him because he's already past the point where he could have thrown the pass. And as you can see, the closer he gets to the line, the further in this Link moves to make the touch on the short pass. Because this winger's out here and he pretty much can react to whatever they try and throw over the top. This winger's got it. But it's very important for that middle to not automatically bite in. Show him the space, last minute. Now I usually use the indicator of if you're looking forward, if your eyes are on here, on this player, as soon as the ball carrier is outside of your peripheral vision, you can actually still make the touch. And it's usually about parallel with you. And that's just good pre-touch and good post-touch from the middles. Let's have a look again. Now this time they're running an ML. We do have a video on ML, so check it out if you want to. This player is going to be the ball player and he's going to be live, so he can score. Now the difference with our pre-touch now, we still want to get back to the line, which this is on the run, so it's a lot harder, but here's good pre-touch. He's on his way back. We just don't want him up here next to his other middle making the touch together. So he's on his way back, he's holding, and he just needs to be a little bit more tight because now this player can dive at the line. And we don't want him diving at our feet, so we've got to have that a little bit tighter. This Link will step off the line and be holding in a channel that he can make the touch on this player, or if there's an early pass thrown, he can chase out. Or the winger shuts down. Excuse me. So he's not standing in front of anyone. He's standing in this gap, making his decision based on what the ball carrier does. So let's see what happens here. The middle holds. The middle does a late shut here. Well, he's doing a late shut, but he forces the ball carrier to throw the pass pretty early, giving this player enough time to react. And because he's in good post-touch, didn't actually use that word, post-touch, they're both able to shut the play down because they forced him to pass the ball early. As soon as he ran into that gap, he realized that there's nothing there for him. And if he throws the ball to that Link, if he rips that pass to the Link, winger's there. If he throws to the winger, he's got to throw over these players, otherwise they'll take the intercept, which means the ball's going to be in the air for a long time, giving our winger and Link time to turn and chase. And that's why we're going to get off the line too. But our next video is a perfect example. They run that ML again. Perfect example on why we get off the line. So you can see our players getting back to the line now. They're about to drive into this player, so the touch is imminent. So he's getting back to the line. Very good. Very good pre-touch. But let's check out the post touch on this one. Good shape pulling corner, by the way, just a slight mention. Here's the ML. And he's off the line. You can see the gap between foot and line there. And this player is going to try and dive at his feet. But because he's standing off the line, he can shut that down there. That is what I would call perfect post-touch positioning. Because if he throws the pass, you're close enough to each player to make the touch on either one of them. This guy reacts well. He aims up coming in. If anything, he's probably a little bit further off the line, but I'm not too critical at the time. He's done a pretty good job. And you can see there, if they throw short, I reckon if he dives, he probably gets it. And he makes the touch because he's off the line. If he had been standing on the line, just view this in slow motion coming up so the lines don't appear again. If he had have stayed there where he is now, and they dive at your feet, guarantee you that ball will hit the line before you can get your hand down. Because you just don't know when they're going to dive. You can't react the same time as what they do. You can only react to things after they do it. That's why it's called a reaction. Who would have thought? Yeah, full speed, it's not going to work. There we go. Great touch. Great defense. But that is pre-touch and post-touch. So pre-touch, getting back on side, especially that open side. Short side, you can be up a little bit higher because you're just going to man on. Open side, then getting off the line and standing in channels. Our next video is going to be talking specific channel defense and where you can position yourself to make sure that you're giving the attacker as little opportunity to get a good pass away as possible. So specific there, we want to be just getting back on side and moving off the line and being ready. But thanks for watching. Hopefully you got something out of it. Don't forget to subscribe and we'll see you on the next video. Bye. Again, guys, thank you very much for watching this top 10 video of line defense. I know line defense is much more requested in the comments, and look, I try my best to get line defense videos out there. However, the only drawback to that is finding content for line defense is actually quite difficult. Attack, you can just watch a video of highlights and then just take what you want out of that, because it's literally the highlights is of attack. So that makes it very easy to find line attack videos. Line defense, though, you do have to watch the game every game in full and pick it apart yourself. So it's not that I don't enjoy doing that, it just is a much more time-consuming thing, and because I'm trying to get videos out every week, along with working full-time, doing my own sort of touch football coaching and playing, and then other sort of hobbies, commitments, and family time on top of that, it just sort of adds up a little bit. So I'll do my absolute best to make sure I keep getting good quality defensive videos out. But that's just why the majority or the bigger percentage is of line attack. But anyway, I really appreciate all the support on the channel, and we will see you very shortly. Next week, we'll be back to breakdowns. Thanks. Bye.